G'day there once again viewers, this is your mate Kamikaze78 here, and today guys, we're going to chime in on a topic that has had the community completely divided over the last few weeks. That is of course the maximum pressure alert that is coming to the game. Now, for those who don't know, we've had a patch that hit the game just today and is making some serious changes to the alerts and also bringing us some new toys to play with on the battlefield. Now, we are going to be going over everything else in another video, but today I want to really focus on this alert type because I for one love Planetside 2, always have and always will, and it's for that reason right there as to why I'm going to be a little bit harsh here with the game and the development team. I promise you what I'm about to say here comes from a place of love, but I'm also going to be honest and call out what I consider to be stupid shit when I see it, which as a segue probably gives you an idea as to what my opinion on this alert type is. But for those who don't know what I'm talking about yet, let me explain. There's a new alert type called maximum pressure that will reward the status of victor to the Empire with the most amount of kills by the end of the alert, and that's about it. But the real kicker is that max suits throughout the duration of the alert are completely free. They cost 0 nanites to pull, kind of how the aerial anomaly alerts work with aircraft and how they're free to pull during that alert type. So, just to clarify, we have an alert that is essentially a kill everything for a bit alert, all the while allowing max suits to be free. Now, I for one am so bloody annoyed that this kind of thing was even considered, let alone pushed through the PTS and to the main game, considering the missteps that have been made in the past with allowing max suits to be purchased at a discounted cost. I'm sure that many of you will remember the days of the old continent alert victory bonuses that allowed for the faction that owned Hossen to purchase max suits at a discounted cost. I believe it was half price. It was an absolute balancing nightmare that allowed for said faction to completely steamroll any base that they wanted with a superior amount of max suits. Like, if a faction owned Hossen and they wanted a base, they just had to pull a literal shit ton of max suits. So back with that old system, at least max suits still had a cost. But now imagine an infinite amount of max suits with absolutely no limitations as to how many could be pulled. As I said in my stream that I ran yesterday, every time this alert crops up, it's no longer going to be Planetside and instead just a big old MechWarrior Online Planetside edition, and that just isn't what Planetside is to me. The force multipliers in Planetside 2, such as tanks, aircraft and max suits, are designed to be additions to an existing force to excel in a situation and not become the whole fucking force. And everyone who argues that it won't be the whole force, as max suits will need supporting medics and engineers, I actually don't think that'll be necessary when they are free, considering that you are able to respawn in the same hex at the last spawn point you used in just 3 seconds, which means you can just go back, pull another max suit, and boom, you're back in the fight. It's probably going to be a bit quicker than waiting for a combat medic to get you, go through the lengthy revive time, and then finally get back up at a lesser health. I mean, sure, you'd normally wait for a medic to get there because, you know, max suits would cost half of your goddamn nanite resource pool. No longer the case. So when you allow for that to happen, especially allow for it to happen with the most penetrative force multiplier in the game that can directly influence a way that a base capture goes, the game is changed into something that simply isn't meant to be. Now, I know that anyone who is keen on the alert will say, well, Cammy, there is already an alert that makes a force multiplier such as aircraft free to all players for its duration. What makes this any different? And that is a fair point, but we're dealing with two very different situations here. The alert that allows all aircraft to be free also creates a new objective separate to that of the original meta that players can participate in if they wish to, all the while without completely throwing off the balance of the main game for those who don't want to participate in said alert. Sure, there is going to be a significantly larger amount of aircraft in the game during that alert, but they've all got their own thing to do. They're not just going to be ground pounding a bunch of infantry straight away like a TDM style game mode. Like, you know, it creates a separate objective that ensures that players who like to fly have got something to do without affecting the main flow of the game. It adds some variety to the game without ruining the experience for those who wish to avoid that side of the game. I mean, sure, those who always enjoy ground pounding with the Banshee are going to have a little bit more fun with free aircraft every time they get shot down, but it isn't a monumental effect. With this max alert though, players who aren't too keen on the big old max orgies but are also infantry primary players, in that case most of the players in this game, aren't going to be able to avoid the skewed experience, as the goal of the alert directly works with the experience of the game at its core, and are going to be stuck dealing with said max orgy for the duration of the alert, which for some will be enough time to sort of just say fuck it, I'm logging off. There is one silver lining behind this alert, and that is the fact that its effects that it brings aren't permanent. I mean, the free max suits will only be around during the duration of the alert, which, despite my concerns, if the alert is a short one, will only add a very short period of chaos that sees hundreds of max suits spawning constantly at every fight, which, despite my concerns, if the alert is a short one, will only add a very short period of chaos that sees hundreds of max suits spawning at every fight, which, in turn, to all those who don't want to get a little bit cheesy and grab out a max suit, can just pull an archer and finally get around to Araximing that thing. However, it still needs to be an incredibly short alert to ensure that the core of the game isn't impacted too heavily. I'm thinking 15 minutes, no more than 30 minutes max. I haven't had a chance to play in the alert as of yet, so please feel free to enlighten me in the comments as to how long this alert is if you've actually played it. But I swear, if this is a 45-minute to an hour-long alert, then that just changes the game too much for too long, and actually kind of hurts what makes Planetside 2 so great. But regardless of that, the very concept of the alert annoys me like no tomorrow. The TDM style that just allows for players to chain pull max suits brings about a very odd take on the Planetside experience that I don't have a lot of confidence in. In fact, I find it to be very uninspired. Like, I don't see why this had to be added to the game. What does it bring to the game that isn't already a part of the core experience? Sure, it brings about massive max suit orgies, but is that really a positive experience? Like, I would love to know in the drawing board stages how the developers thought, you know, it'd be a great idea, hundreds of max suits in one fight. I don't quite understand where they were going with it, and, you know, at what point, and how they were able to take that concept and apply it to a positive experience. I'm not quite sure what they were thinking there at all. However, the alert has had a domino effect on other alert types in the game as well. In the patch notes, the devs have also stated that with the introduction of this alert, they are removing two alerts from the rotation pool, the Refine and Refuel alert, as well as the Gaining Ground alert. Two objective-based alerts have been removed from the game as of this patch, and taking their place has been this TDM-style alert. Now, the Refine and Refuel alert, I can imagine, didn't really grasp the attention of many players. Most times the alert triggered, I didn't see huge amounts of points being generated by the factions while it was running. But with that said, it still added some logistical flavour to the game that players who preferred the slower gameplay could actually go out and enjoy. Hell, it also gave the Ant a bit more of a direct role where it could really contribute to a win condition of some kind at least. But to remove the Gaining Ground alert, really? Why did that have to be removed? It provided a great incentive to push towards bases that acted as great choke points for the continent capture alerts. But now that those objective style of alerts have been substituted for alerts that are literally TDM rounds, is this the trend for future alerts of Planetside 2? Personally, I really hope not. I know people out there will argue that Planetside has long just been a giant meat-grinding farming simulator, a glorified team deathmatch if you will, but as someone who enjoys the team-based tactical play with outfit mates, I would personally prefer to see more of a focus on creating unique objectives other than kill as many fools as possible. If I wanted that, I'd go play some COD. You know, I'm really hoping that we don't see more substitutions like this in the future, and maybe we will take some time to discuss the maximum pressure alert in the future when we get some more time with it under our belts, but I'm really not that optimistic for this alert and how it plays. If the developers want to incentivize us to participate in these sort of out-of-the-way, objective-based alerts a little bit more, maybe even drive more players towards completing these alerts which would generate new and interesting battles on the map, then give us proper incentives. You know, if a winning Empire on this Refine and Refuel alert, I think only won a single implant, and it's going to be an implant that most players have already got already, if they've at least been inserting into that sort of stuff. Like, you know, offer up more ISO, offer up, you know, maybe the rare chance of getting an exceptional implant, offer up a loot like an actual implant chance box or something like that. Something worth our time if you want to incentivize these kinds of alerts. Don't just, you know, turn Planetside into a glorified team deathmatch. I don't think that's the way we should really be driving this game in the long run. But hey, that's just one man's opinion. That's my take on the situation at hand. I could be reading the situation completely wrong after getting some time under my belt with the alert. Maybe I'll enjoy it, but at this given point in time, I'm not optimistic at all, guys, and I really hope this isn't going to be a trend for future alerts in the game. Anyway, guys, if you enjoyed today's video, backhanding that like button would be greatly appreciated. If you severely disagree with me, feel free to backhand that dislike button and tell me why I'm wrong in many ways. I'd love to hear that in the comment section down below, guys. Let's get an actual discussion surrounding this topic done. I would love to hear what everyone thinks about what we're seeing at this point. Beyond that, guys, if you enjoyed today's video and you are new here, feel free to hit the subscribe button and follow me on all my social media links, Twitter, Discord, and Twitch, all located in the description and a pinned comment down below. Once again, guys, hope you enjoyed today's video. Look forward to seeing you guys in the next one. Take care, guys. Have a good one. I'll catch you all in the next video. Bye-bye.